play, and I like to see that. We do like to see sometimes when you kind of change it up a bit, but you know, these guys are confident in this setup. They've been playing it for a very long time. Of course, they are going to be playing against LKD, which will be the team on your right, and they are playing the setup that we thought with that Paladin Mage Warrior, so it's going to be important to keep track of that Paladin during this match.
I'm going to be interested to see if they're going to try and stop this gateway. I think it's a pretty important thing for any of their kill targets that they can't just have a free gateway every time that it's up. So we'll see if they charge in, try and stop that gateway, and if that'll help them at all.
All right, you know, right away, here we go, and here comes the gateway,
He's
and
able to stop it
right away.
That's really good. That's very good for this the team of LKD. We do see Bad Cat is sitting that early hex right there. Great job by him breaking some of that damage up.
Yeah, Bad Cat in a Cyclone also. Lots of crowd control out onto the Mage, who's going to be able to toss some crowd control out once he gets out of it. Looks like we do have a Hodge immediately. Oh, so he's not playing Fist of Justice. So Swapsy taking that short Hodge as Bluestack is already going to put timers up and toss dots out on everyone. Although he's being crowd controlled a little bit, having to port away. He definitely was the target of choice by the Warrior.
When he does squeeze out that demonic gateway right there, that is really clutch for that team. He was able to port and get it with the hasted cast right there off that demonic gateway, so they are going to have that option of being able to gate across the map if they need to. And
so here's how this team of LKD can be in trouble. Right now, you see the Hand of Purity coming out onto Hanbai, but those Demon Soul dots all over everyone, just taking a lot of damage, as you see once the Paladin starts to fall behind, as the Warrior is getting quite low right now. He's getting back in, and he is playing Shockwave this match. Smart idea against these casters, as the Paladin hasn't had to really use too much, as we see his Guardian comes out. There we go, and Divine Favor. So he is
he is using a lot of cooldowns here. Not a bad move. I mean, he's basically matching the Demon Soul of the other team, the Dark Soul, kind of putting himself in a by that pillar right there. I'm not sure if that was a full lockout on that CS or not, but his team seems to be doing okay.
Yep, it was. You know, he dispelled the UA off of himself behind the pillar, as we see the blink. And wow, I liked that deep freeze onto Botar. It was just a second too late, not able to stop that Cyclone, as Bluestack is going to take a lot of damage right now with a crowd control onto Swapsy, as Botar is going to be able to heal up his team as he runs back and gets in range of that mushroom for the huge bloom.
Yeah, I mean, and like we said, this team has so many options. The Bleach Bones, the Lock Shaman Druid, they have so much survivability. If they didn't have Gateway, if they didn't have this Shaman, this other team, this Paladin Mage Warrior, they're actually doing a great job as far as offensive pressure and crowd control right now.
Yeah, as you see, Bad Cat he's having to just walk around the middle of the arena, not being able to line of sight too much of the damage from the Ellie Shaman, as it looks like Swapsy is taking a lot of damage from the Warrior. Hanbai's just switching back and forth, trying to stay on Bluestack as much as he can, but you see him toss out, you know, he's using the Thunderclap, you know, trying to get dots up on so many targets, because that's definitely...
That was a Divine Shield right there by the Paladin of LKD. He's not going to have that for later. You know, Hanbai playing that Bloodbath Shockwave, I believe, is what he's playing, also with the Root Interruption. He's had that up for most of the game. Pretty smart glyph choices by him for using that.
Yeah, now Swapsy is going to take a lot of damage, but of course Botar healing him right up. Botar full mana right now, and
this is recklessness right here from Hanbai. So they're going to try and make something happen. It looks like Bluestack's going to be the main target right here. He's dipping pretty low. They're going to need some CC on the Botar. I'm not sure if they can actually land that or not.
Oh, and look at that damage. Hanbai taking so much damage right now. He's in the middle by himself, trying to intervene away, as it looks like he is going to be down to half. No crowd. Oh, there we go. Now we have a fear onto the Paladin right now. Hanbai is in trouble right now. Look at that damage coming out.
Clone coming. He has the rallying cry up, though. That's going to fall with the shield wall. Great LOS by him, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be okay, but now Bad Cat's the one in trouble.
Yeah,
Dipping low, he's going to have to use an ice block right here. I'm not sure if he has it there. He's going to be able to get that off.
And this is where Paladins are in trouble. He is feared right there. No trinket up, no shield up, as Hanbai's almost down as the Aura Mastery comes up, plus die by the sword. He's barely hanging on right now.
This is how the Paladin Mage Warrior needs to play. They're playing very, very well defensively right now. They need to run a lot. They need to run between these cooldowns. Their only chance is when it's all in burst. So they're doing a great job right now defensively.
They are, all right, and the Warrior's trying to find his target again, but still down to half. He can't push up without Bad Cat's help, really. He really needs that crowd control out on the enemies, and here comes the lava burst out from Swapsy. Hanbai picked up again, as we see wings coming out on the Paladin.
That's a Shadow Fury Fear right there, though, onto him, but it does break. He has the wings up, so he might be able to top his team there. That's a good clone on Hanbai. He's going to be low during that. I'm not sure if that's a full lockout on the counter spell right there onto Hanbai, but He's in trouble. Their whole team's rotting low. This is not a good situation right now for them.
No, it isn't. Even the, oh, look at that low Cyclone on to, wow, everyone on that team is
Everyone's
going
about
down.
to go down,
wow.
and they do. I mean, right when that pressure rolls over,
yeah.
it's just game over for the Paladin Mage Warrior.
You know, this Lock Shaman Druid team, you can see it happen. You can see it coming way in advance. Once those Demon Soul dots are on everyone, and then the Shaman starts to get some procs, you know, then suddenly we saw Henbai was low, but then they immediately turned it around onto Bad Cat. It just took so much damage, and then as a Paladin,
they played well. He played at the pillar. You know, when Angel was up, he was able to keep his team up. But there's not much you can do when there's that much damage being spread around as a Paladin, and then you have the NS Cyclone on you to kind of. There's no answer for that. So yeah, I mean, Lock Shaman Druid, it's such a strong comp.
They were playing really well. I mean, LKD, you saw that great deep onto Botar when he blinked in for the NS Cyclone. It was just a moment too late. If it would have been a split second earlier, maybe that would have changed the game around. You know, they wouldn't have fallen behind. He wouldn't have had to bubble. You know.
Right.
So many things can go wrong in these matches.
They might even need to play more defensively. I mean, they're playing pretty defensively, but I think they need to catch up. That Warrior, you know, speaking as a Warrior, it's really hard to go out when you're at, you know, 60, 70% against a team like that, because you can't play offensively at all. He needs to be topped up above 90%. Then he can go in and maybe make something happen. Paladin did the best that he could, though. I don't think he made any clear mistakes. He had pretty good positioning. It's just tough.
It is. And I like that he was playing the Root Interruption glyph. You know, playing against 3 casters, he's always going to have a target that he can possibly pummel. And even if it's a, you know, it isn't the strongest spell to lock or whatever, you're still getting that extra damage bonus.
It's 6% damage for 20 seconds. I mean, it was up probably half that game. So definitely the right choice to make versus this caster team.
All right, and our second match is going to be played on Dalaran Sewers. You know, this is an excellent map for them, because anytime that the match revolves around the boxes, they can really punish. You know, Shockwave hitting every single target, getting that cooldown, you know, below that 40 seconds when it hits more than the 3 or more targets, of course. And you know, there's a pet and there's 2 other, you know, there's 2 other targets at all times. So every time that they can try to bring the game to Botar, because Botar is going to have to find some safe places to play.
Yeah, and this gateway is so important. I mean, they stopped at that last game, but he was able to squeeze one out, and it looks like he's going to be able to get it there as well.
Yeah, all right, and of course we are going to have Bleach up 1-0 right now. Look at that fear already onto the Paladin as he is trying to get his team up. Oh wow, this is not looking good whatsoever. He is playing Bloodbath again, that Mass Spell Reflection coming out, but already lots of cooldowns, Wings, and Holy Avenger coming out from the Paladin already. But being able to top up Handby, he just has to keep healing him over and over and over, and you know, burning through that the cooldown so early in the match, you know, because the Demon Soul dots are already back up. And here we go, we have the Heart of the Wild out by Botar. Let's see what he's going to do with it. You see him trying to toss out some Wraths, but wow, barely keeping the Warlock pet alive.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing a lot of pet damage here, not concentrating too much on the Warrior this game.
Yeah, and you see Botar, no problem, healing up his team. You know, he isn't even playing in a pretty risky position in terms of being pretty far from the box. And then here we go, now we have these Wraths. Look at how much damage going into Hunter.
He could just die here. He's going to need to use something. That's just a lot of healing from the Paladin right there to save him. But that is the Heart of the Wild from Botar. He is caught in a sheep right now. I'm not sure if they're going to stick with Handby, but he is taking big chunks of damage.
Yeah, as he's trying to get up those last few dots. You know, Botar's, there goes, his Heart of the Wild has faded, but look at, this is the situation as we see the Aura Mastery coming out, but the Paladin not really being able to heal everyone back up. There we go, now comes the absolute gigantic heals with his Angel.
Yeah, and those are the cooldowns. This is the part where they need to reverse pressure. They're putting a little bit in a Blood Stack. Botar still has his Trinket, though, so he must feel pretty confident. We see a short deep that must be diminishing return from Shockwave there. Blood Stack seems like he's going to be fine. I think the next big wave on the Paladin Mage Warrior is going to be very dangerous for them. I think they're all going to start rotting soon, and we're going to see a kill here.
It is, you know, Blue Stack getting kind of low, but again, like we're saying, Botar hasn't been pressured whatsoever this entire match. You know, he's every time he's eating the crowd control, Blue Stack is just full life. And interesting to see the Paladin has switched to playing Fist of Justice, as it does get dispelled right there. But look at that, dots all over everyone.
Handby could be in trouble.
All right, Hanbai is going to jump down to try to break up that line of sight right there. But we do have, looks like they are going to play defensive again. This is, they really have to do this, but they can't let the Shaman get any casts off. Being able to chain an instant lava burst off of a lava burst is just so much damage.
And that was a great gateway right there by Blizzcon. Looked like he set it up to maybe gate into there and be able to fear that Paladin. Paladin recognizes that and is switching pillars. Really great awareness by both of those players.
Absolutely, and we see Hanbai is going to keep sticking on Bleached. Looks like they just want to train this Warlock over and over to try to put out that constant damage, as Badcat is down to half right now, and he is going to be cloned. Off of that clone, it's interesting, Badcat isn't able to put out too much crowd control whatsoever against this team. It's tough with the shocks and the groundings.
Yeah, I mean, talk about making that mage his job a nightmare. I mean, he's not able to do much. Paladin doing the best that he can right now. He has really good positioning. His team's taking some spread damage, but he seems like he's okay to heal through it. That looks like a lockout right there. So, but I don't think anyone's in too much trouble. You see that die by the sword by Hanbai there, reducing some damage. We have the wings coming out. Things are going to be okay for now, but not looking too good. I mean, the Paladin Mage Warrior aren't putting out too much pressure. They need to make something happen.
Yeah, I don't know if just training this Warlock is going to work too much. Maybe they want to switch it up on to the Druid or something, because they're not even getting pet kills at this point.
Right. Yeah, they are definitely. I mean, they're playing well. They're playing well defensively, but their offensive game is just not. It's not happening. I mean, it's not easy either. It's definitely extremely rough to try and gain momentum versus this team when they have so much survivability.
Yeah. And you see, they have to constantly be playing defensive once those defensive cooldowns come out by Bleached. Badcat having to pull back to the boxes so many times, and I mean, even with this damage coming out. It isn't even moving his hit point bar. These hots are just so strong.
Paladin had to bubble that fear right there. He came in to help, I think maybe Fist of Justice, one of the Druid or something, but the Warrior had to pull back. Paladin had to shield. I mean, that's what happens when you try and go in as a Paladin. If you're not able to land that crowd control, it just puts you in a bad spot. There's the NS clone onto him. They're trying to make something happen here.
They are. We don't see too many cooldowns push out too much, as Botar is going to blink and try to get more crowd control out, as Badcat is taking so much damage. Bleached tossing out all those dots onto his target, and it's got to be rough as a Paladin. He's constantly have that slowed casting effects from the curses, as you see the Hand of Purity coming out again on Hanbai.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and he's got really great positioning right now. And he's actually avoiding a ton of CC by putting himself where he is. Looks like he's going in for something on the Druid. There's the Fist of Justice on him. Trying to follow it up with a Blinding Light, but it does get spell locked or sheared there. So that they're going to break that up. Great job by the LSD there to stop that CC chain.
Absolutely. Now Botar, as you can see him having to NS, looks like not sure what he NS there right there. Now it looks like it might have been a mushroom. So Swapsy down to half right now. Taking a little bit of damage.
And that is a full sheep right there on a Botar. He does decide to trinket that, so I think that's one of the. I think that was actually the only trinket that he's used this game as far as defensively, but still in trouble. We see the Iron Bark, the Shamanistic Rage is up. He should be fine through that. Let's see if they can carry any momentum onto the Shaman here. They seem like they're actually doing a lot better than going on the Warlock, though.
Now Botar is going to be pushing up, trying to, as he gets stunned right there. Another Fist of Justice coming out as he's going to sit it because he doesn't have his trinket up right now. Bleached, of course, is going to be taking a lot of damage. That Shockwaves comes out. He's stuck in the middle right now as we see a Spell Reflection trying to catch.
Ooh, and Badcat dipping really low right there. Has to Ice Block. That was pretty unexpected damage on him. This is the Ellie Shaman damage, and when we're starting to see the spread damage, we're starting to see the rotting. Let's see what the Paladin can do if he can keep his team up.
Yeah, the Paladin is extremely low right now, having to play behind the boxes, trying to get his team back there. As you see him push out pretty far. I wonder what is he trying to get a Hodge off of this? I think he might. Yeah,
I think he's trying to move away from the Warlock too to not get caught in some other CC.
Yeah,
but he's in a bash right now, so big trouble. Shield wall right there from the Warrior. That's going to keep him alive, but not in a good position right now. He's got to be able to catch his team up.
Yeah, he had to push into the Shaman right there, who had Ascendance up. Still has Ascendance up as it just fades, so they pretty much negated most of that Ascension damage, which is very important. However, we see a Trinket out of Unii right there. That Paladin doesn't have a bubble, doesn't have a Trinket. He's in so much trouble right now. As Hanbai is taking so much damage.
He could just die. He's going to go down.
Wow.
Such a hard situation to deal with. The Warrior was low. He was getting knocked around. Really hard to deal with as a Paladin.
It really is. Wow, and Bleached Bones, again, so much damage out of that Shaman.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean if they're not on him, they were on the Warlock for a lot of that game, and you can't imagine he's just free casting a lot of the game, able to keep his flame shocks up, get his procs, and definitely the damage can get pretty out of control. That could be why they started going on him, which they actually had some decent momentum going on him, but again that Paladin it's such a hard life, trying to balance everything out, and he just died there,
Yep.
unexpectedly.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the Paladin having to make the choice with dispelling against this Warlock Shaman team, because if you can keep ahead of the flame shocks, and kind of balance out how many flame shocks he has up at one time, you can kind of reduce your RNG chances where he's just going to launch like 4 lava bursts at you. But it can still happen at any point, and then you run the risk of dispelling that UA, which Botar had they had it on the entire enemy team the entire time.
Yeah.
Like UA was everywhere.
Right, and they played well. The Paladin Mage Warrior absolutely played well. I mean, they're not making bad plays at all. I mean, if anything, the Paladin had pretty good positioning for the majority of the game, avoiding CC. Didn't get caught in too much stuff. We saw the trinket at the end. It was a good trinket. No real mistakes. It's just really hard to overcome that amount of damage.
So LKD was able to choose this map and the map before. Of course, they chose Dalaran Sewers. It was a smart play. They were able to use that ring defensively every time that they pulled back a lot. And they've chosen Ruins of Lordaeron, and I'm not sure what to think about this pick.
Yeah, that's going to put the Paladin in a bad spot. I mean, he has nowhere to go. He's either going to be sitting in the room and he needs to come out to heal, or everyone's going to have to retreat back to the room, or they're going to try and take the tomb, which might be their best bet. And maybe just try and pillar around those fears.
Yeah, I mean they're going to. Of course, stopping the gateway on this map is extremely hard. For that warrior, if he's going to be pushing up, as long as there's any sort of crowd control on him, whether it be like an NS clone right from the start,
Right.
it's tough. Maybe we'll see him like flying in with spell reflection up, expecting.
It's extremely hard to stop it. I mean, you can cast it out of line of sight on those steps right there, and it's pretty tough to stop. So
yeah.
That gateway is going to happen. They might just need to live with it. I think maybe they'll learn from what they did last game and maybe coordinate some more stuff onto Swapsy and make him the primary target. Maybe shut his damage down a little bit.
Yeah, the Warlock, training the Warlock just didn't seem to do anything last match. I mean, there was a couple moments when the pet almost died, but I mean, when you're basing this entire match off of making sure that your Paladin is going to have the cooldowns necessary to keep people alive, and then I don't know, it's tough. Of course, that gateway does get off immediately. Let's see how the Warrior is going to handle the start of this, because this is going to be a rough situation for him. As you can see, they're trying to grab the tomb, but they still have to push up for that Warrior to be able to do damage, and this is what's going to happen. This Lock Shaman Druid.
See a PvP trinket out of Bad Cat there. I think he may have trinketed early fear, probably trying to utilize all his cooldowns. Bluckstack does trinket there as well, taking a little bit of damage, not too much CC onto Botar though. Both teams just kind of retreating back. Paladin running in, uses his trinket. This is Ascendance. I mean, both these teams are actually going pretty crazy right now. We might see a really early kill, but both teams just kind of mirroring each other's cooldowns, trying to match offensive cooldowns, defensive cooldowns. Yeah,
as you can see, the Paladin, sitting really far back, having to Wings and Holy Avenger. Bad Cat, of course, taking a lot of damage from that Shaman. Oh, as he's going to Temporal Shield, so he's going to heal back a bunch of that damage right there. Aura Mastery comes out as he's able to spam out that Poly. Botar is counterspelled also. So Bluestack is definitely the target again as he gets disarmed. So we have the Paladin who's going to try to keep his team up right now. Hasn't had the bubble yet, but he did have to trinket a little while ago, so he's not going to have that active.
Right,
as you can see him cycle through the second set of cooldowns right there, having that Angel out with Divine Favor as Bad Cat.
That's a good offensive clone right there.
Was.
That's going to keep him low. These are Angel heals right here. These are the heals. This is the time when he has to heal. And if he's in a Cyclone, he's not able to do that. Again, doing a good job sitting at the pillar, trying to avoid CC. Does get spell locked or shocked there. So Bad Cat's going to be in a little bit of trouble. You see a lot of damage on him.
Yeah, this Paladin is getting locked pretty much constantly. It's a rough time because he had those few seconds where he couldn't cast. Look at the hit point bars. He just rots down from all that dot damage.
Definitely. And again, the LSD looking solid. I mean, not dropping too low. Bluckstack's going down to about 70%. He's in a stun right now. We see a Sheep onto Swappy, full fear onto Botar. Trying to do a little bit of cross CC there, which is good. But again, one of them just trinketed and he was able to tremor him out of it. Not able to make much happen with that.
Yeah, and you know, they can play defensive whenever they want. Of course, Bleached Bones being able to play the entire starting room and having that gateway, you know, as the point of mobility. As we see a block come out from Bad Cat, his pet is also dead. This is not looking quite well for LKD on this map.
Definitely not. I mean, Botar still has his trinket up. They're just playing very passively, very confidently. We see the bash onto the Paladin there, into a full fear. Very nice. He is going to trinket that, so he's not going to have that available. But again, we see a good root onto him too. He's going to be stuck over there. This LSD playing very well with their cooldowns, locking that Paladin out.
Yeah, and the Paladin is falling so far behind as he gets cycloned. Half cyclone right there as Hanbai is almost, he's going to be killed through this. This is crazy amount of damage. Those dots coming up, and we don't see too many casts quite yet.
That's another spell lock right there onto the Paladin. I mean, he's going to be in big trouble here. Hanbai's feared. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get his cooldowns off. Bad Cat's low. Their whole team's dipping pretty low. You see the mage, Bad Cat, is trying to split up the damage. He's putting a lot of sheeps on a swappy, trying to break up their damage a lot. He's doing actually a good job. They're playing well. They just have to play too defensively through this.
They really do, as we see that shockwave come out, but it didn't do too much as they are going to go on blue stack, and this is actually a decent amount of damage. No cooldowns out of Hanbai, though. You know, he forced them to port back. You know, he didn't really use anything, so that's good. At this point, though, that ring, oh, I like this ring. Oh, it wasn't a full ring. That would have been a great ring right there, as Bad Cat is going to, that was his second block right there, so he's going to be in trouble if he gets switched to, and I don't think he has a pet still.
That is a full sheep onto Botar. Bluckstack does not have a port up for a few, but you know, again, at Warlock, he's been real tanky the last couple games. I don't know if they're going to be able to score a kill on him.
Yeah, and I'm surprised the Paladin is still keeping his team up at this point.
Yeah, this Paladin's actually playing very well right now. I mean, he's getting locked, which, you know, I'm not quite sure about, but his positioning and his cooldown usage seems to be pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's being really greedy with those casted heals, you know, trying to get those quick divine favors off and stuff instead of, you know, juking a whole lot. And there he goes, gets locked again. And this is when his team is in trouble, as you see dots on all targets, as we see a temporal shield again from Bad Cat, you know, doing everything he can cooldown-wise. He just got shocked.
Had the bubble right there. Had to use his divine shield. Bad Cat in a full clone. Not looking good. I mean, without the bubble, Angel's coming out too.
Yeah, I like to see that you see the Cyclone constantly onto Bad Cat every time that the Paladin bubble comes out, as we see.
Looks like they're trying to do something onto Botar here. He does use his bark skin. He's not going to have that up for another swap if they decide to go on him. I think that is the right target. I think they need to make more swaps to Botar.
Yeah, they really do. They haven't been putting a dent into his mana whatsoever in any of these matches. And Blue Stack, you know, it's a good target that they can sit on constantly, you know, with that warrior damage. But, you know, if Botar's not pressured, there's no point, as Botar is in a full deep, followed by a full poly, still has his trinket and not choosing. He's just going to sit straight through this, as Blue Stack has an orb on him, so he is going to be taking a lot of damage. But again, look at that, sitting through the poly completely, followed by a fear. This is a good crowd control chain.
This is a good crowd control. It does get tremored there, though. That again, I mean, that's what makes a difference right there. Having that one extra break, it really just breaks up a lot of the damage. Something that could have been a lot of momentum gained just completely gets negated. Paladin doing a better job right now, moving back. Seems like he is going to get a fear. Great Hodge right there onto him, sprinting away, doing a really great job positioning-wise of avoiding CC.
He really is. As you can see, Bad Cat's pet still really low, 2%. He's just probably going to rot out at this point, barely surviving as still 2%, no heals coming out. Of course, the Paladin having to worry about way more important things. Bad Cat down to half right now as that fear ends on to the Paladin. You know, he's playing way in the back right now. They didn't do a great job of taking over the tomb. Of course, the Warlock is going to be camping on top of that. That stops the Paladin from having his way, playing on top of that, using that for LOS.
Interesting thing to note is that, you know, they went on Botar. We called it about a minute ago. They got Barkskin. They got him to 50%. They haven't touched him since.
Yeah.
I really feel like, you know, I know they're under a lot of pressure, but I feel like they need to kind of coordinate getting themselves back topped again and then making those swaps to him without Barkskin.
Yeah, this is rough because Hanbai isn't able to push up because they are playing across the tomb. I don't know about this positioning, especially with a Paladin. I mean, he knows he has to sit back, so he's not...
Hanbai dipping very low right now, even
Storm
through
Lash.
heals.
All right, and the Stormlash Totem coming out. They're trying to get the massive amount of damage as you see Rally, Shield, everything coming out from that warrior defensive-wise.
Whoa, and Bad Cat dipping really low. Might need a block. Gets the block at 5,000 health.
Wow. Wow, that was crazy.
Very close.
Yeah, and the Paladin does have his trinket back up, so he'll be able to break the next CC chain that starts on him. But you know, maybe this was the right call to play pretty far back. But it means that every time, there we go, every gateway away, it just completely stops all offensive pressure.
There's
Seems
the
like
full fear again onto Botar. Does get tremored out. They're trying to make something happen on Swapsy here.
Henbai has Recklessness up right now. He's trying to make something happen onto Swapsy. His Nature's Guardian procs right there as he is getting kind of low. Botar still has his trinket up. NS, we see NS coming out. But Swapsy's still not getting healed up to full as he is stunned by that shockwave.
Yep, and Botar's going to be sitting that deep right here, but he's going to not. There's not too much follow-up with CC right now. He's on Sheep DR. There's no fear up right now. This is where Swapsy is vulnerable, but Botar's not in any crowd control danger at all.
Now, actually, if this game continues to go on longer, it actually might play into the favor of LKD. Of course, we are about 8 minutes in, so that dampening has already kicked in. You know, it's probably at about like 8% right now, 9%, maybe 10%. So that's a large amount of extra healing that the Druid has to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the Paladin on LKD is not doing too well mana-wise here. Really struggling, but doing an impressive job of keeping his team up through all of this. I mean, it's extremely rough.
Yeah, he can't really dispel this dot damage without worrying about dying himself. And of course, Swapsy taking a lot of damage again, but every single time that he is focused, he's just running away as look at the dot damage as the die by the sword comes out. A fear onto Hanbai. The Paladin is trying to play max range right now, which means Hanbai isn't able to push up as offensive as he would like to be.
And the Paladin could just go down here.
Oh,
huge
wow.
damage, spiking him low. He's going to try and get the cast off. He has to cast. He gets locked.
Again.
He goes down. Such a good job. I mean, he's really playing a really great game, but just gets overwhelmed, and they just catch him into a quick silence, and he just goes down.
And that's it, yeah. Bleached Bones just doing a great job right there.